SpaceX was just a scrappy startup 2 decades ago, struggling to keep up with aerospace giants like Boeing and Lockheed Martin. At one point, they were even on the brink of bankruptcy, with only enough funding left for one last launch. If that mission had failed, the company we know today might not have existed. But through relentless hard work, innovation, and sheer determination, Musk and his team pulled SpaceX out of that crisis and transformed it into the most dominant force in the space industry. Today, they are no longer just competing with other companies. They have surpassed them all. NASA, once relying solely on government contractors, now depends on SpaceX for key missions. Boeing's Starliner program continues to face delays, while SpaceX's Dragon has become the go-to spacecraft for ferrying astronauts to the International Space Station. Even in the satellite launch market, they've left other players far behind, launching more missions in a single year than some entire countries. But now, SpaceX has reached a point where its main competitor isn't another company. It's itself. They aren't just breaking records that stood for decades. They are breaking their own records and setting new ones, continuously pushing the limits of what's possible. From launching the most rockets in a single year to testing the most powerful spacecraft ever built, SpaceX is rewriting the history of space exploration in real time. And in today's video, we're going to dive into some of the most incredible records SpaceX has shattered. But before we get into the details, make sure to subscribe to our channel so you don't miss any updates on Starship and SpaceX's groundbreaking advancements. As we all know, Musk's ultimate goal is to make rocket launches as routine and reliable as operating an airplane. To turn this vision into reality, SpaceX has been increasing its annual launch numbers at a surprising rate, breaking records along the way. In 2022, SpaceX conducted 61 launches, all but one using the Falcon 9 rocket. This impressive feat accounted for approximately 33% of the global 186 orbital launch attempts that year. The previous record holder for the most launches in a single year was the Soviet Union, which achieved 61 launches in 1980. SpaceX matched this record in 2022, marking a significant milestone in the company's history. The momentum continued into 2023, with SpaceX completing 98 orbital launches, representing about 44% of the global 221 launch attempts. This surge not only surpassed their previous record, but also highlighted SpaceX's growing dominance in the aerospace industry. The majority of these missions were dedicated to expanding the Starlink constellation. In 2024, SpaceX broke its own record with 134 total Falcon flights, comprising 132 Falcon 9 and 2 Falcon Heavy missions. This impressive feat accounted for more than half of the global 259 orbital launches that year, with SpaceX alone conducting approximately 52% of all missions. This surge represented a 17% increase from the previous record of 221 orbital launch attempts in 2023. Out of the 134 launches, 89 were solely for deploying Starlink satellites, further advancing the goal of global internet coverage. Looking ahead to 2025, SpaceX has set an ambitious goal of achieving between 175 to 180 launches for the year. As of February 26, 2025, they have already completed 23 successful missions, maintaining a rapid launch cadence. If this pace continues, SpaceX is on track to conduct approximately 13% of its annual target within the first 2 months of the year. While global launch numbers for 2025 are yet to be fully tallied, SpaceX's contributions are expected to constitute a significant portion. If there is one thing more impressive than SpaceX's record-breaking launch numbers, it's their landing numbers. While launching rockets into space has been done for decades, safely bringing them back and reusing them multiple times is what sets SpaceX apart from every other space company. A major milestone in SpaceX's booster recovery program was reached on February 15, 2025, when Falcon 9 booster B-1067 successfully completed its 26th flight, setting a new record for the most flights by a single reusable rocket. This achievement demonstrated just how reliable and efficient SpaceX's reusability program has become. Before this, the previous record was held by booster B-1062, which completed 23 missions before being retired. Booster B-1067 was first launched on June 3, 2021, for a resupply flight to the International Space Station. On its record-setting 26th mission, it successfully launched a new batch of Starlink satellites and landed safely on the autonomous drone ship a short fall of gravitas in the Atlantic Ocean. Traditionally, rockets were discarded after a single flight, making spaceflight extremely expensive. SpaceX changed this by designing Falcon 9's first stage to be fully reusable. After separation from the second stage, which continues carrying the payload to orbit, the booster performs a controlled descent using cold gas thrusters and deployable titanium grid fins for guidance. It then reignites some of its Merlin engines to slow down and land precisely on a designated platform. Depending on the mission profile, the booster can either return to a landing zone near the launch site or touch down on a floating drone ship at sea. Sea landings on autonomous drone ships are necessary for missions that require high-speed trajectories, where the booster doesn't have enough leftover fuel to return to land. SpaceX currently operates 3 drone ships. Of course, I still love you. Just read the instructions and a shortfall of gravitas. These drone ships enable SpaceX to recover boosters from missions that would otherwise be too costly to attempt reusability. In the early days, landing failures were common as the company refined its technology, but today, landings are routine. In 2024 alone, SpaceX successfully recovered 122 boosters out of 134 launches, maintaining an over 91% success rate. This high recovery rate ensures a steady supply of reusable boosters, allowing SpaceX to launch rockets at an unprecedented frequency. The long-term goal is to push Falcon 9's reusability even further. Musk has stated that each booster is designed to be capable of flying up to 100 times with periodic refurbishments. Another, perhaps the biggest achievement SpaceX accomplished, is the successful test of the Mechazilla booster catching system during the October 13, 2024 Starship test flight. This marked the first time in history that a massive orbital-class booster was not only launched and returned, but also caught mid-air by mechanical arms attached to the launch tower, eliminating the need for traditional landing legs. SpaceX had been testing the Mechazilla system for months before this successful booster catch. Before this, all previous Super Heavy boosters had either been intentionally discarded into the ocean or had attempted traditional landings. However, as of now, the Mechazilla system has only been used to catch the Super Heavy booster. The Starship upper stage, which is designed to be fully reusable, still performs a controlled descent and splashes down in the ocean after reaching space. SpaceX's next goal is to eventually have the Mechazilla system catch the returning Starship upper stage as well. This would mean both parts of the rocket, the booster and the upper stage, could be quickly recovered, inspected, and relaunched within hours or days, instead of weeks or months. Right now, SpaceX operates 2 Mechazilla-equipped launch towers, one at Starbase in Texas and another at Kennedy Space Center in Florida. Having 2 launch towers gives the company flexibility, allowing Starship launches from both locations depending on mission needs. Currently, SpaceX is preparing for Starship Flight 8, which was originally planned to launch on February 28, 2025. This flight will test further improvements in Starship's reusability, and there is speculation that SpaceX might attempt catching both the Super Heavy booster and the Starship upper stage for the first time. However, as of February 26, 2025, the launch has been delayed due to pending regulatory approval from the Federal Aviation Administration. This means that while SpaceX is technically ready for the next test flight, they must wait for final clearance before proceeding. That's all for today's video. Thanks for watching and stay tuned for more updates.